In order to summarize the whole teaching that Q2101 is talking about them, or so-called Ganesha gnosis of the Marut Mortali mind map that is sold to naked Newton, coward Confucius. These are all the astray alchemists or the Phrygian farts of the Buddha Abudanic Beli, or the bodhisattvas, the pervert Plato, and the rest of the garbage package of guru gangsters, which have been working with porno potion of Shaktic shock or the psychic secretion of six soma, so that they can beat the LAC, the asbab, as well as the banking system, as well as the global political system, or the UN, as Higgs, Hexig particles. We have to take a thankful love look at Asura 6, who is called blessing of having animal body, or the perspective part, or the muddy mind, or the psychic soil, or kundalini clay in form of conceptual kater, or al-an'am na'am animate in English. What is known as dong divination or black magic is abusing the dark matter or dark energy and dark energy constituent, and so we can look at these four as the dark matter and dark energy are the kind of together they are working, or the brahmanic energy, or the jinn, fire, narul, masmum, and then we have the four elements of this animalistic sex form. Let us eat a Chrismahi combo from Christ Karimi, 1 yard of Allah, that is related to blessing of having and existing in an animal form. Amirumic extract, a little bit. I have made like a selection from all of these things, different verses, and so this part is like a summary of the psychic sack of base soul, or al-an'ami animal, is an inversely built down leaked discharged assembly, or the cellular solalat, what we call it, or the salat secretion, or the solalat is salal, masalat basket, or secretion, or the woven to become a basket, or the cellular of sounding soil, or what we call it as salsal in Arabic. That, like a negative film image, is sold in dark room or pottery pit, or wide vagina of woman with aries, with wide vagina hellhole, vaginal input, or basically the moist valley that is telling to God in Asura 50 verse 30 that is there more for me to devour on judgment day. The Dead Sea, also we call it the Dead Sea, and the dead worshippers are actually happy with this deadly part. And so of woman earthly ash, with tripura, triple, or three zolamat salase, three zalams. Zalam means dented darkness, or the cut crevice grooves. Three, sometimes they translate it as the image, but in fact it is not image, it is the carved darkness or scratched That's where the imaging or the coining into something happens. 3 Galilee زل ظلمات بعض فوق بعض, layers of زللی of tropos happens. And so call or all together these 3 layers form a trigram, or 2 times 2 times through. For each one we have a yin yang one, and so 8 samaniya, that's where we get the 8 psychic styles based on the elements. 8 configurations or 8 basic animals, or 8 psychic modes of cell-souled intellect that is formed in Galilee garden, or Biqa, or Baq, or Baq, or Baq of Genesis 11:2, or Bakwa. And so this is what we have in the Bakwa. And so desirous opening, or the harlot's whoredom, or the eightfold unfoldment of the soul. The Galilee garden of empty Egypt, or Kundalini Kantkat, comprises of 2 azwaj, 2 zawj, higher and the lower trigrams, with 3 yin yangi long legs, or the seal sides, or the zel sides, or the ribs, or forelocks, then sit naziya. Just like any canyon that actually has these 2 parts, 2 slopes or 2 recessed parts, and so 2 before and behind, and 2 yesadi foundations, cushions. And so the 2 before ma bain aydihim wa ma bain is basically what we say ma bain saddan, what is said in ma bain saddan, bain aydihim or saddan of Asura 2 times 18, 36, 9 and 45. wa ma khalfahum, and that is the sad. Or we have the 2 yesadi foundation cushions that are basketing us or enwrapping us from being drowned, or aghraqat, or kashat, or kasaft, or khasaft, or swallowed into our private parts, that once you eat from mushroom you would fall into it, or the harming hell, or behind borehole by means of acid waves, or the tryptamine ties, or the neural circulation of Galilee of Gailanic Nandi network. And the second is preventing us from what? And the second is preventing us, or the basketing us from being caught by means of pouring kasaf, or the case cup kasfan of tumblestones, and asif wind, and a scream. And so these 2 are actually encasing our beta brainwave bandwidths. Both of them are parts of Vayu void, of alpha to omega, and that is under Sultana, his sovereignty of Christ Karimi, Handa of Allah. Or the left hand is completely governed by the right hand, and the left hand gives full power to everything, including the right hand. I'm talking about the energetic power. And then the right hand rules over everything, in addition to the parts of the right hand, also writing on everything that it wants on the left hand, wherever it wants on the plane. And so these 2 barriers are also preventing us from flying to heavenly home of Hezbollahi hearts. Upon eating of 10 grams of mannamunic mushroom, or upon just the decree pouring of a dash of DMT dynamite from the 7 bowls of wrath of God, either way, whether consciously eating mushroom or waiting for the wrath of Creator to come in the form of a dukhan. These two yesadi barriers will be unsealed, and then like a soul seed in a dream that can fly and can fall down, you you fall down from the Higgs 6 field upon which your Higgs 6 is hanging, like a fruit that someone shake the fruit, and then so like you not your body, because your body is here, both you and kind of your body fall in the reality to which you are hanging, and then you fall into the Gog&Magog pit or the Babel tower. Well, and so that's what we have here. And so whether 10 grams or the 7 bowls, these two are will be unsealed, and then animal an'ami atman atom, or the Higgs 6 particle, or the soul seed zar is released, because your soul seed that is riding your mind falls actually from the waking state, falls off from the waking state. And that is what hippies call it wormholes, or the abduction, or tripping, and leaving the dried yabesi film the surface of the Dead Sea, and then you fall into the deep waters, and then the fishes can devour you, or the lions can attack you, or the angels can, whatever is necessary in the pottery pit to be done upon you by the decree of Allah, then it will be done to you over there. And so these cushions are basically what we call it as the two parts that are holding this flat plane as a qarar makin. Will be unsealed. Yes, is released into Vayu void of Galilee Garden, or Bakuai borehole of the lower cone, or the Kush case, that is both behind and before us. And so in other one word, Surah 22 verse 5 tells us that threefold creation and emergence of a kalbod, or kalbod in Persian, or trikayai body from triple darknesses in Fizolamat Salase of Surah 39 verse 6, of Tom to womb, evolves consecutively from first basic nataf. Nataf is what I'm going to use a lot in the witness. Nataf means a sperm or droplet. However, contrary to low quality mistranslations or translations of the scholars that think that is talking about the sperm of a earthly father, it is in fact about the sperm or the turab of the Dead Sea, or the menstruation of the Hell Lady, or the Gaia gap, by which basically your soul is receiving the power, its power, and so nataf together all together becomes the something like dharmakaya that the devils are talking about, or we call it as the sperm or the soul seed or the atman. This is the spirit sperm. We can look at it as the water droplet, or we can look at it as a smoke, depending on the elements. They are all talking about the same thing, whether the jolly or the water, or you want to look at it as vayui, vayuvoi, the air, or you want to look at it as part of the space on the plane page, or you want to look at it as a sort of a soil of zamin zaman. You can look at it that way, but that is basically the base soul, basic soul, or the sperm smoke. Dharmakaya dirt, or the we call it liangyi, that we liangvi that we have, or the sperm droplet, or the yin yang lungs that like mundane mud, or ma'ul mahin, or turab. As you can see here, even we have the turab, the turab, or the soil, or that we call it as the turab, or as the water, the trash turab, or to roshi, bitter, sour, tartar, or the ab, turab, or ab, aqua, in English, coming from the same root, or the amino acid, or the copper comes out of wuju, vagina, or arsh azim of woman. Who is the woman? The Jahannam, or the Gaia, or the hellhole. And then we have the or the ocean of the amino acid. And then we have the dharmic kali moksha dung hole of tohu bohu cheshek. That's another name of her. And so that's basically the place of vanity, emptiness, and dryness. Also we call it as the darkness, or the leached and leaked, and so after this evolves consecutive, and so that is the first part, and then the second consecutive part is the leached or leaked, or alaqd in English, or alaqd, or suspended. Sometimes we call it as the symbolic sambagaya, or the six Siziang, or the four suspending leakages. And so the first one, or the nataf, is the yin and the yang, the male and the female. And then after that we reach to this four, and so nataf is in two forms, yin or yang. For instance, my yang is the Jezebel, and I am this one. My yin is the Jezebel, or the Emiliahi, love lady of mine, and this is me. And so after that we reach to these four. And so these four are the intermediary state between this one, the spirit, the pure spirit, and then the pure materialistic surface of the itching sphere, of the sphere of the changes. And so this part is basically the alaq, or the leaking between this one to this one, from this one to this one. In the malakut, only the natafs are existing, or the atmans, or the souls, or the zurriya. That's the alam of the zarre, or the word of the spirit, or the Atman particle of yours, or Etminan particle of yours. This is the intermediary level that they are double, we call it as a forced suspended leakage, and then we reach to mozgh, masek, mosaic, or mask, or in English coming, they're all from the same root, mozgh. Forget about the conventional translations of this verse. They are kind of not that correct, or not. They are not talking about the second meaning of this one verse. But again, mozgh is related to material manifestation, or what actually takes place at the material mask level of the beta brain wavy type. And so here is where we get the three layers working all together. And so here you can see that is the surface earth, and then this is the realm of the nutfe, alaq, and then mozgh reaches to here, and this all together becomes the itching sphere. This is the surface of the sphere where the changes are completed, or we can look at it as the Malakuti tombstone, or the realm of the yin and yang, or the deep or turab, or the dust, or the clay, that's the or the soil, whether again soil or a sperm or a smoke, are the same. And so that's the realm of number one. And then we reach to the from this tombstone that comprises of the four elements, nataf is taken, or the melted ash, a sperm droplet, mud, or the ma'ul mahin. And then we reach to the realm of alaq, where the sperm comes and then leaks or leaches down into this form. And then once alaq is complete, then you reach to the 9 or the 12 or the malakut, and that is the realm that you are making choices in it. However, again, this realm is hanging, alaqing, or suspending from nataf. And so all that the iron rod that shepherds the nation is doing is that your alaq, or your suspension link between the realm of nataf and the link of the mozgh, mosaic, will be cut. And then what happens is that you leave the animal body or your mind, and then you bloop, fall into the nataf realm that is here. From the surface earth, you enter into the dream land, we call it, of the fire and water, or the holy smoke, depending on how you look at it. But again, this is absolute pure gas, fart flagellation, and this is the tombstone that will be closed on every third eye. And so Bakua garden from balance, saved, Shavad, Savad, equal, or the Sava Setike, or the Sava Setike, or the balance. These two parts of the Bakua are, or the garden, or the galley garden, are Savad, or saved, or equaled, or leveled up. That's part of the Sava, or the equal to 3 grams that we have. And so and then we have the set, or the 6, and then we have the pieces, tikka. And so 6 taken pieces, that's how we get to the 64, equal to 8 times 8. Again, that's the diagonal, is the diagonal arrangement in the matrix 8 by 8 matrix of the 3 grams. We reach to on that diagonal line, we reach to 8 and almost samaniyat or animated animal modes, and then another one, 64 left wing, is the 3 gram or saq besaq that we read, or the 2 na'als, or the 2 sandals, or the 2 talariai sandals. Those are related to the saq besaq of 75:29, and then you start reaping in the judgment day, because the changes will be done to you according to your trip trip. And then that's the waves or the moj that we read in Surah 11 verse 40 and 41, the waves that are taking the son of Noah and he's being dropped. Those waves are actually changing these modes in a way that no matter how much he is changing, he finally reaches to this and then falls down and then gets drowned into the cone, or the lower cone, or we call it tetrahedron grid of the vanity vibration, that are and these 64 modes are actually what the Shodashi is selling in that Hameat Ain, or the eye of the eye spring of the heated home or acid baths, that are incorporeally portioned and khalaqat or compartmentalized, first in Galilee garden and then incorporeally formed, and so that is how this again we have the غیر مخلقه and مخلقه for the مزغه or the masak, or so the yin yang comes eventually once it is materialized at the realm of the mozghe or the masak. Then mask, you reach to this incorporeally portioned first in the Galilee garden and then corporeally formed into zawjain zakara wal unsa, into 2 pairs of male and female, or the garden of male and female in 2 motherly wombs. In word of mortal mosaics, or the patterns or tiles and pots. That is how yin yangi pair of Amir and Emilia is made from Gailanic Tombatul Ars, soil or salt, and from each other. Into Shahinahi and Rosalinahi, my mother's name, and Emilia's mother's name in Iran and in Canada. However, it is only Allah who knows whether our psalmic Zamar flutes will be from puri, fruitful kind, or from empty, fruitless kind. As for now, Arba'in 2018 or 2018. This is a beautiful song. About Imam Hussein. This is the song about the sacrifice that Abraham gave instead of Master Isaac. در این همه عمار و میثم است، باز این چه شورش است که در خلق عالم است، باز این چه شورش است که در خلق عالم است. ادعا Hussein, salam Allah be upon our Imam, our Fadayna, wa huwa zibhun azim, the great Passover lamb at the Yom Kippur day of Tishri. That got the Israelites of the Moses to cross over the Red Sea while they've been followed by the barren Buddha-Abudanic Pharaoh. And his brother-in-law, Abbas Buye Goliyas, Abul Fazl al-Abbas, both are the sons of Imam al-Mu'mineen, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Prince of Believers, Imam Ali. لبیک یا حسین آقا لبیک یا آقا اننا حرب لمن حربهم سلم من سلمهم سلم شما سلام به شما میکنم سافر باشی for the good reminding for the passengers inshallah becoming Nasir and becoming the help for Nasarati. Nasir means Nasarati. Inshallah, I can join the heavenly army for a state-of-art extermination of these orangutans. As for now, Arba in 2018, she is still an unrepented Hindu and Krishna pig eater and homosexual hypocrite, in closing of a Christian priest. And I am a barren fig tree whose witness is not finished. And I'm trying to, inshallah, get it finished as soon, so that he can tell to the scientifically brainwashed world that biblical plagues which Krishna pig covers with global warming coverage are what Amirumi has caused. I have caused them by asking the authority or the ijazat and izn from Allah, or asking from king of the earth, that is the Christ or the Zulqarnain, to strike the earth. And upon the requests of the two-horned ram, we have had plenty of wildlife fires, the forest fires in Canada, in the States, the flood in Iran, the volcanoes, the record-breaking hurricanes in the state, and many of the same natural phenomena that have been skyrocketed after 2015 and were culminated in 2018, caused pleased authorized, or villat, or ratson, or raza, or marziyad, or raziyad. Raza is the Hebrew root, or razad, or the Arabic root of the mercy, or has accepted, or with, or okayed, or has given permission for it. To be asked from Isa, he ordered religion, or the laduni azon of Yahuwah, so that they would reign on evil heirs of the Dajjalic Tammuz, that is lying on that is sleeping under the coverage of the global warming as garbage. This is superstition. This is rubbish. Not believing in the fact that the earth is being destroyed because we are destroying the green trees and prayerful crops of the field. May Allah forgive me and Emilia Jezebel Peyrah of my heart. Amana. We are still not, she hasn't repented yet, and I haven't completed the witness yet. And so we can see that Noah prophet is ordered by Isa commander, or Amara of Allah, to embark and board into him solar self, or Qafir, or the Jafre, or the Kifuri camphor covered coffin, or the camphor is coming from the same root, kafir, or we call it kafur, covered coffin, tabut of Genesis 6:14, and two pairs, zawjain asnain, or azwaj, from all whole of these 8, or al-am samaniyat, of these 8 shemona samaniya. Okay, this is where the 8 comes, of 8 fleshy forms, or the animal psychic based nafash forms of the change in nafash, or nafs, or the basic ego, whether it is convert basic filthy fart, or the hollow smoke, or the basic salty salt, or the bedeliumed and pleasantly converted smoke, of these 8 shemona fleshy forms, or the bagwai bashars, cells, mosaic mazghas, whose mud-minded chunks and portions are first scooped, cut, plowed, etched, collected, catched, or akhazed, as we have it, or the kharrated, or the cutted, or the graft, or the greft, or the gripped, from Jordan River of Garden Brook, Jordan River, or the Garden Brook of fertility, foam, abomination, ash, or Psyche stream, or the Kaphnos, or the Eskam stream of the empty mind, by which you can make the mind of a dolphin, or an octopi, or a bird, or a jackal, or whatever you want to make, as well as us, the animal bodies that we have, anything, or dinosaur, or the psychic stream, that's the mind mud, concurrent creek, nahr of Eshkol, or shakal, what we call it in English as the shackle, is that, or the filler, or we call it ashkal or ashkal, which means shapes. That's where the shapes comes, or the basic the continuum, or we call it shakul or sakul, or the weight, the shekel weight, unit of the weight, or the shakal, or the ashkal with the different minor changes of the letters, but with the same sound, are coming from shackling shapes, graven images, or the aphrodisiac problems, eshkal or ashkal, or fractal figure, or the scam, or the heavy gas, or the shakia sagi ad manipurai navel socket. And so again, this is the kafnos, or the scam, or the jofa, and it is just what we call it as the plain page, but again, the real river, or the real thing, is the right hand that is writing on that. And so the writing part, or the word, or the program, actually the energy of that program is allocated to it, as well as the space for writing for that word to be written. And so the word is the zero energy that comes into the energy field and occupies a space, or a certain amount of alpha to omega energy is given to this animal body, or the mind, to become the animal carrier of the nataf, or of the soul spirit, for making choices in the realm of the mind map, whether hatefully or lovingly, depending on the aperture of the heart. And then yasar, sur, surat, or the pattern, form, fashioned in 8 animated animal forms of the psyche, or the psychic modes, that I have already named them in 3 categories of ufuq. By I'm talking about my predecessor Adam. That's how, once we receive the writing, or the breeze of God, or the writing of God, or the wafta of God, or the light, then you realize what the hell is going on in the dark room. And so in the dark room we have basically 3 categories of these animal, or the creatures. And so although part of it is outside of the dark room, and so one is the fowls, or the thrones, or tair. We call them the ones that are above the BDCT, a plane of experience. The ones that are flying in the mid-air, or the in the Sama ad-Dunya, as we will look at it, or above that. And then that is called Ufuq, or Uf, or the fowl thrones, or the Basiji birds of high horizon, what who do not put zamari 4 fingers into their nostril and nifs, and after receiving the Isahi Uda Kolona of Genesis 2:6, or the mist, the messianic meme mist of Aleph Lam Mim, or Naftali Nif, or the fan, the Feng Phenom, Ofani Afanan, their Hamsa and Hezbollahi heart balloons will wind up like Habal, Habel, Habeli heart balloons of Habela, or Abela. These that's why they are called as the birds of the field. The best birdie example of these light heart balloons that I can think of is Abu Fazl al-Abbas Buye Golayas, the brother of Imam Hussein. And so Abu Fazl Abbas ibn Ali alayhi salam, Rahmah of Allah be upon our master. Some of these Basiji birds in mid-air, or the Sama ad-Dunya, we call it, are Majra or cruise flying, like Jafan kal Jawab, or the Jubing or Jawabing, like the flying pomegranate beads, or grapes, eye grapes, flying eye grapes, or in شغل فاکهان. These are behind the Isahi Ismus, or in the heavenly altitudes. But again, you need to see the heavenly altitude to realize that the animals or the birds, some of the animals that are, or the programs are using actually the angelic thrones, or the fowls. We call them flying grapes of the Christ Karimi vineyard, that are actually fruiting, or gargling, or so-soing, as Marina Sabina is saying, or qalaing, or praising Allah, or saying, or talawating, or telling, or eating yarzaguna from 2 or 3 temple of love life, or Sufi sailing, or Ein Sof Saffan Saffying, that's where the Tosifing comes, Wasfing, or characterizing, or exalting, the Hashem name, the great name, that is Allah, Hebrew around 433, without spread wings, Safat, like, or Ein Sof Sufa, Safa, Safat, and Safa of Surah 37, 1 verse 1. That's why actually they are like the Safira, the Safrai, Sapphire, or the golden pages of the book of life, their wings, like the wing words, and also some of them with folded wings, that are, their wings are not spread, but their wings are folded. Yaqbazanna, are turned to beautifying beads. And so once they are concentrated and the beads are closed, then they are seated inside their iron at the golden bells, like the pomegranate juices inside that, or we call them in that way diamond pearls, or the pebbles of the mountain of God, or the Sinin mountain, or the Cheshutat, Arya Cheshutat Mount. And so they become the pebbles, or the diamond beads of the chainsaw rosary. And so that's when their wings are condensed, and then they are ready for smacking the hell of these Harry Hellions of the Pharaoh. We call it the romantic rosary eyeliner. These are the pure emanations, Sefirati, Safai, Safati, Ein Sofi, Safiri, Safati, emanations of innocent martyrdom and sacrifice, like Abu Fazil, Abbas Buye Gole Yas Yasna Yazdan. He is one of the amazingly fast tractors that have crossed the Tariqat track, or Tariq, that is another name of Christ, and then has reached like a flying missile with Abdullah al-Hussein to the heavenly Mahish Assyria, or the Isthmus or the Lawh al-Mahfuz. And one of the amazing diamonds here, 144 diamonds, or like Siavash, if you know about him, or Arash the archer, or even I don't know, maybe the Abel is even there, the first martyr of the history, the first pomegranate of the history. And so around Melchizedek watch post, these are the ones with the folded wings. The lowest sky, or the Sama ad-Dunya, or the lowest sky, or the ceiling, or Saqful Marfu, or Saqful Mahfuz, or Lawhul Mahfuz, that like a corner capstone is coming on the Hammam, or the Hamiming, hot bath of boiling excrement and acid that has like a overpressurized soup of egotistical filth, which we call it the hellhole or the Galilee garden, and then just prevent this garbage to get to the holy presence of Allah. Two besiegers of the holiest jihadi jumps, whose blessed bloods are smeared on the manamunic face of Christ the Karimi warrior in his fight against Nazi eagle of Taoist Magogs, are Imam Hussein and Abu Fazl, or Abul Fazl al-Abbas Buye Gol Yasi, master martyrs of Karbala Altera of 37:107, or Genesis 22 verse 13. They are talking about the same ram that was caught in a net of hypocrite, maggoty, fake Muslims, and actually are way worse than average Hindu hellions. This is about Abbas Buye Gol Yas. And about the love legend, the pomegranate romance or roman that is seated gloriously shining in Book of Life. Actually, Abraham has give that Mizbahi Zabah, or sacrifice. Unfortunately, the battlefield of fighting with this fartful empire of the gay American government, with bunch of Muslim drowning and killing presidents of states, is empty. We have plenty of Muslim, so-called Muslim governments that have betrayed to their brothers and sisters, and instead of attacking to the Dajjal and the false Israel of the Antichrist, they are actually shaking hand. And that's why it says that the battlefield is empty. Only Ayatollah Khamenei, Salam of Allah be upon, our amazing warrior, and his General Qasem Soleimani, or other brothers and sisters, the amazing ones that have already were put on their kafans, or when you put it in the grave, they wrap something around you, that they are already ready to jump up into the Tariq Tarak, or the highway of Isaiah 19 verse 23. I'm gonna mention it for 1,000 times in this witness, so that you can remember that the highway is not the highway that you get your cars to go. That's the highway that you have to carry your cross, and like Abul Fazl al-Abbas or Imam Hussein, get yourself nailed on that cross. And so to do that, all you need to do is to poke the head of the octopi, and then you will see that the tone of the barking Erdogan will change, or this orangutan trumpet, pathetic trumpet of the Buddha beast. And so they are alone. There are millions of the individuals. I'm hoping that the army of the Khorasan can start its attack in the name of Reza Marziya, Razia in Hebrew, Razia, to hateful monsters and the homosexual whores of the Babel. But at the moment, they are the battlefield. Everybody has already betrayed to, they say that they are Muslim, but or they are in Taslim, or the Christians are following, go wherever the Christ goes, but they are paying tax to the Antichrist. Oh, you soldiers of Imam Khamenei, this is time for you to attack to the heart of these Taoist Talmud writing monsters. The winner of this game is not the ones that are going to remain on this planet. Everybody will be dead in 3 years. The winners are the ones that die in an amazing distance in front of Allah, God that is looking us behind his Christ Karimi salam glass, salam screen, in an amazing way. Start, you birds, you fly into the heavenly highway of Isaiah 19 verse 23. I'm saying it to you as the Dabbatul Arz of Holy Quran, chapter 27 verse 82. If you kill an Israeli soldier, thumbs up, kill the next one. But if you are killed, then you're already taken off in the highway of Isaiah 19 verse 23, or in the Surah 86 that is named after the Christ, the piercing track, or tariq, tariqat. And what is our tariqat? Our tariqat is to you don't belong, you belong to the Aryan bird nest in the Yeru Arya Salam of the fire house. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. You are not from this earth. Find these funky air carriers of the goddamn US government of the Antichrist and fire your missiles. Let them butcher you. 200 million people are going to be killed. I'm hoping that we can give the maximum number of dead ones in that. Don't fear this, because whoever remains alive will be crushed under the cornerstone. The entire fabric of this space is gonna be blown up with alpha to omega explosion and suction. We will look at it in detail. but what the both cushions are gonna be taken, and that's how the malakuti membrane is going to rip apart or to completely wrapped. And so don't worry if these people are going to stay alive and going to the churches and do whatever they want to do. You do your job and show your sincere your sincere love to God by attacking, and like droplets of the sweet water of the Euphrates river of life, go upstream and then go back to where you were rained down before your exile. Read Micah chapter 4 verse 10 to 13 to see that if you want to shepherd these nations in damnation, you have to go behind the Christ the Karim, and then with the iron rod you will pulverize the pilots in F-35s, the operators that are seated, the chicken pilots that are seated in a state and then are controlling the drones at the other side of the world to bomb the heck out of your brothers and sisters in Pakistan and in Afghanistan. That's the word that you can attack to every one of these animals in this plane from behind the Christ the Karimi Barzakh, or the burning boulder rock, and so not from here. And so if you kill an Israeli soldier, thumbs up. Kill the next one. If you could, kill its lieutenant, kill its major, kill its colonel, kill its general, kill that goddamn Netanyahu, kill whoever is standing in front of you until you reach to occupied Al-Quds, because occupied Al-Quds does not belong to a bunch of gay pride parading primates and Talmud writing apes, and apes of the Pharaoh that were teleported by Christ to the other side, because they were actually among 600,000 Israelites. Many of them are Sodomite and sick and filthy Samaritans. Not all of them are good Samaritans. You attack to them, and then you will find real Yahudai people that will actually join you, and they are the good ones inside the Israel, and they will help you. But they are not the ones that are psytrancing in the dupe festivals or have yoga mats around, or do those kind of things, or participate in gay prides. They are not those kind of people. تو عوض نکرده هیهات من نزله هیهات من نزله. Vow to disgrace and pity, and don't talk about peace still, because you're gonna piss upon your human slate. Die like warriors, and that Christ died for us. That doesn't mean that Christ died for us. Allah, let me go and pay my taxes to Antichrist to give me a bunch of lukewarm, funky priests that don't know what the hell they are reading and they are shaking Bible. In Christ came here and died for me and you, so that we can see why and for how, for who and why and how we can die. And the only way that you can die and win the salvation is martyrdom. That's the highway of Isaiah 19:23. You wanna, Christ came here and died and then shoots up like what? That's the name of the Christ. Let me show it to you. Although I wanted to keep it for later on, but like now that it is heating up, This is the another surah in Holy Quran that is named in the honor of the Christ, Tariq. Okay, let me put it here so that you can see. If you go to Quran.com, if you are a Christian and you're hearing this end time broadcast at Tariq, okay, it means nightcomer. Okay, although this is a garbage translation, but it's okay to some extent. Tariq means track. Okay, Tariq, that's in English is track. We have it as the track in Hebrew too. We will look at it. Tariq means by the sky, and the night comer. Who is the night comer? The Christ came to this world, and what can make you know, and who can imagine who is the night comer? And then it says Tariq, and then who is the night, and then it says that and the Christ or the night comer is a piercing star. What does he pierce? He pierced the fear from this. Okay, so he came for us, for me and you, who are enslaved in the world of the mind and the flesh and the penis and the mind and the stomach, and as we all have healthy life, that these orangutans are talking about it and feeding you with crap and information and lie and heliocentrism and global warming and all of these garbages. Christ came for us and showed us that you want to go out, the exit door is the lamp in the dark room with the elephant in it. Forget about the people of the field or the elephant, and forget about the dark room. The only way to go out of the dark room is through the portal periscope porch to the other side. That's just like a periscope that comes into the dark room and then illuminates the light that it receives from the day above the waters of the Dead Sea, from the Allahi air or Aryan air or the Aryan fire of Jerusalem or Jerusalem or Arya Salam, and that's how it comes into the dark night. And so Christ came to show us, oh, that's the lamp, let's just jump into the lamp. That's what the butterflies do. Now you know where the burning bush is, or where the burning boulder breast bosom is. Then it is time for us to go back. All I'm doing is that, like a mirror way below millions of hundreds of millions of Muslim and Christians, more sinful. I've received all the marks of the beast and everything. Almost there is no plague that I haven't received in this God-forsaken Babel pit, the winepress of wrath of God. But at that lowest level, as the Zerubbabel of the Babel, I am mirroring the Zeru, or the golden light that I've received from Christ, so that many people that have turned their back to the Haykal of Allah or the Temple of Allah can look at me, and then I'm getting that light and then getting it to become radiated to you. And so Christ came to show us to go back to that. Once you follow me upon my death and upon the earthquake that I'm prophesying, then you will see how your gaze is gonna go. Forget about me. Once you see the light source, then you know where the real Zeru of Zerubbabel, or the Zard, or the gold, golden the color, or the Medad, or the golden ink, or the golden chrismation of the Zerubbabel is coming, because the Zerubbabel is basically another blank inside the Babel pit. And so once you look at me, then you can follow me and then say, oh, all right, that's Christ came for us and died so that we can find the exit door by following his track. Track is the name of the Christ, and that track, or that highway of Isaiah 19 verse 23, or the highway or the track of Holy Quran chapter. Here it is. Let's look at it. وَالسَّمَاءِ وَالطَّارِقِ, or the track, and who knows, and what can make you know what is the night comer? And Christ is a superstar, or Najm Shi'riya, or Sirius of the night, the brightest star at the sky of the Galilee night, that is piercing. He came and he became crucified, his body and his soul died and then rose up and then just went up. And so once you see that, then you know, all right, that's the exit door, and that's how we can hopefully more than 200 million people are going to be killed and martyred by the American, Chinese, Russian, Saudi Arabian empire of Dajjal, or the Antichrist, or Barack Baboon Obama. The more you die, it is a win-win situation. All that false forces can do is to shut me down. Okay, that's why I'm saying that, like, if you're a Muslim or Christian, it is your duty to let the world know that the two witnesses are here and Obama is with us. Okay, now watch at the wrestling between me and that scumbag sack of sodomy and psychedelic sorcery. But what is important is not neither me that nor that. What is important is Allah and Christ. End of the story. And Allah and no ilayhi raji'un. You are from love and you go back to love. You're not from black hole. You're not from dark hole. You're not a baboon. You are a word. You're not an animal mind. Okay, you are a word. You are a language. You are beauty. You have a sense of elegance. I'm not talking about the hundreds of millions of dollar funky paintings of bunch of barren pagan Gentile painters in the museums of the Bible, talking about the elegance and the beauty in the holy word of God. And so over there, Christ, or the Tariq, what Tariq, and the Tariq, at Tariq, okay, and so that is the Tariq, or track is the tariqat, or the way, or the style of the Christ. Okay, and Christ, this is not a strange thing. He said that if you love me, take your cross and carry it. How do you carry your cross? You don't go and boycott Israel.com or something like that to assign, and then give a couple of dollars and think, all right, I've done my job. Now let's go out and then have fun with the friends. No. Look at what the Great March of Return people are doing. Catch an Israeli bullet in the air and head shoot that bullet and then jump up, go back. This fear from this is over, and so just get there, and then from there we will terminate these apes in this membrane. هیهات من نزله هیهات من نزله عمار دار این خاک. This خاک, or this soil, we as the king of the Persian of Daniel 8, I'm saying that to the Persians, we are one of the oldest remainings and the civilizations that have been in direct touch with what people call it Jesus. That eases, or ease of it, is the Izad, or the what we call it as God, or the city of Yazd, the Zoroastrian city of Yazd, with amazing funerals and marasim and the ceremonies for Imam Hussein and Abul Fazl al-Abbas are coming from the same root and the same soil. And so this soil has Imam Khamenei, the leader of not only the Shias of the world but all the Muslim and Christians. Forget about the puppet pope. He is not the leader of the Christian world. He has nothing to do with the Catholic brothers and sisters. They are just systematically following someone that plenty of priests and the middlemen are clapping for him, but he is nothing but a puppet. Because he's shaking hand with the Dalai Lama, the Kedar Lama of Genesis 14. That is the grandfather of this monstrous Dalai Lama, okay? And so he is the number one enemy of Abraham and Melchizedek, Christ and Allah, God of both of them, okay? And so if you wanna do something, then poke that Tel Aviv or that has occupied, that devoured Jerusalem, and then we will see how much you're in love. Just if you are an American soldier or a Great Britain soldier or a French soldier or a soldier in German army, and you have anything to do with the Bible in case that you touch it, or even you are soldiers from bin Salman and you are working for the Antichrist, come out and then join the army of Ayatollah Khamenei that is going to attack inshallah soon to that fartful sack of gate priding foams, that scums that are just going to be washed very soon. So let us just go back here. You can see the rest of this song later. And so two Basiji birds with the closed wings that have turned into diamonds of the chainsaw of 144,000 beads, or what we call it, Sabbath of Book of Psalms, chapter 23, Psalm 23. I think as we look verse 4, that Sabt or Asbat by Hussein min Asbat, Sabtam min Asbat, as a hadith of Prophet Muhammad said, they are Abul Fazl al-Abbas and Imam Hussein, his brother. And they are mentioned in Genesis 22:13 and Holy Quran 37:107. And so in the field we had, the first one was this kind of birds, because and this naming is coming from Genesis 2:19 or Holy Quran, or as we read in Holy Quran verse 2, yes, chapter 2 verse 33. And that's after the Asma'ul Husna are taught to me, or then I've seen the written story and the pen on the plain pages. Then you realize that the plain page is secondary, the primary is the story. And the book, actually this plain left page exists for Allah to write on it with his right hand. And so now we know about the three categories of the animals, or the anamic forms, muzghaz, on the field. The second category is an'am or behema or bahimatan of Genesis 2:20 or Holy Quran 5:1, bahimatan, or cattle on the BDCT plane of experience. And so like rams or different styles, we will look at it. The couples of son or za'n or snain, or the sheep or the cows, al-baqara snain, al-ibl snain, or the jamal, or the camels, or naqe. For instance, the naqe of Prophet Solomon, of Prophet Saleh, has been camel, that is actually a human, but with a camel style of soul or psyche, psychic attitude. And the moles or the bagal or donkeys, hamir, like Mark 11:2, or like the mule or the donkey of Animal Farm, for instance, or the horses or the khayl that we have, that we do. And so these are like the different types of the the cattle or the behema, sheep, cow, camel, mule, or donkey or horse, and there are like the couples of it, of the male and the female, that we do not know and cannot judge whether they are carrying legacy logic, love lightful load, or an'am al-hamulata. What are they, this an'am or the animal bodies, or basically the mind machines or animal mind? What is their cargo? What are they carrying? Are they carrying Christ, like Mark 11:2? Are they carrying the spirit of the Christ, or are they carrying the spirit of the Buddha beast or the Antichrist? And again, that we will or hugely flattened carpets, or the wings of the flying wings of the Horus falcons, of the zebubs of the Beelzebub or the Horus falcon, or the hugely flattened carpets of the Krishna crab, because although they are hamulating, or they are carrying heavy vajras of thousands of shekels, an ordinary human has 1 shekel or 1 shekeling image, that wants to get rid of that and then open that chain and go back to the fire as like a phoenix. However, these animals, these monstrous yogi gurus, these giant Joliases that are not 6 meter tall or 12 meter tall, but are actually between 1.5 meter to 2 meter tall at most. They are the hugely flattened carp. Some of them are hamulating, but they are hamulating anvils, and that is still part of the farsh, or the spreaded flat, or the flattened serianthropy that is coned. And although they look at it at their vajras and the kubas and then the gada maces as heavy cargo or the heavy load, but those are like featherweight, like nothing altogether for Christ to pulverize them all together with their ancestors, with the ghosts of their ancestors, with their rudras, with their whatever garbage and the maruts that they have, all together, multiplied by the number of the leaves of the Amazon jungle and whatever they have all together. That's why it is fash, or it is flat carpet, because they are only eating plain. They have no idea. And so they are dharmaing to dry darkness and dirty emptiness, or wicked vein of vanity and dirty waterlessness. As we are told again and again, that we will be resurrected in angel demonic forms for receiving judgment day are three zulamat salase, are three darkfold celled solalat mosaics are going to be, as we read in 3668, nunakesahad, or reversed, or unfolded, or the necrosed back from Bagwad mosaics, like in this form, to for Siziangi Alagat, or the suspension leak, and then to angel demonic form of pure nataf spirit or a sperm or a smoky note, single tones of liang yilang and yin yangi, or what we call it as the yin yangi couples. وَأَذَا النُّفُوسُ زُوَّجَتْ of Asura 81 verse 7 is talking about coupling of the yin and yang of every couple together. That's why it says that we don't give the people in marriage, but because this is not marriage, this coupling is different. This coupling is the coupling of the spirit, because every spirit must have its antithesis or the sperm of two eyes, or of two eyes, or forelocks, two forelocks, or on triangled sides, the ribs, or the seals, or the zells, or the ceiling sides, or the ribs. This incorporeal coupling has nothing to do with the marriage. Although the couple can be married, it is a built-in feature in our programs to maximize the ecstasy for entering to Isahi Idor phase for Islamo-Christian couples. Good for them. Or alternatively, the excruciating sorrow for eternal fall into Hindu hole of Talmudic termites, or trash trinity tunnel of Torabi tar waters, or Ma'ul Mahin. As for the coward couple of this barren victory, myself and my Emiliahi Jezebel pair, that we are together, called azvaj, or we call it in English, coming from the root word of zugos in Greek, or zujji in Hebrew, or azvaj in Arabic Persian, or a zigzag in English, zigzag. Zigzag means zoj, or shoulder to shoulder, or condensed, like getting together, close together, condensed, vitrified, or compressed, that means the paired, that means zigzag, zojos. And so as to the zigzag of my barren victory, myself and my Emiliahi Jezebel pair, we are just promised an excruciating second death touched by Torab Tar of Revelation 2:22. Reversal, and so this reversal that we are talking, or nonakesho, like it is going to go behind the gender and behind the alagi leech, or the suspension, and then gets to the nataf, or the spirit, or the sperm, or the smoke, or this or the argost, and that nataf is what we call it as the soul, or separi, or a spirit, or fana, or fon, And so reversal setback from or unsoiling from of soily cell kundalini cocoon from 2 to the power of 3 to the power of 2 and then to the power of 1 forms of yin yangi sperms or the natafs or the inodes in Potter repeat is one of the crucial concepts that Nazarati or Nasera or Nazarati Gnosticism has been constantly reminding us were like the one that we just read in Surah 81 verse 7, and when the couples are paired upon judgment day. And so that coupling happens only when the flesh and the other attachments are dropped, and then the pure spirit remains, and in the spirit realm they will be coupled. That's part of the Gnosticism, Nazarati Gnosticism. First of all, receiving رواناهی remembrance و هو إن هو إلا ذکر و قرآن مبین, that we are nothing but imaginary sperms or exudations or the secretional leakage or the sour acid or dharmakaya discharge or the tarisha or tarashuh or the sour rish or the droplet of the venomous nas copper that comes out of the wide vuju vagina emra'at or of the Gaia gap. That is part of we, and that is the plane or the space or the elementals, salt, water and soil from which our mind machine mod is made. And so that's what must bring humility instead of becoming proud and then proud and sitting upright in meditation like a stiff neck yogi with a completely dried neck in arrogant silence instead of bending down and humbling in front of God. Brings humility to proud primates or arrogant nooks or monkey magogs or androgynous apes and chimpanzee shishai shakhs or the 6 horny Jiyamudra holders who dare to sit in meditation, masturbation and make moksha makeup with turabi toiletry. That's the soily turban. Again, once that light turns on, then you will see that you've been smearing filth upon your heart or upon your face or upon your nataf. And so this Gnostic reminder to retro consciousness of Trikaya retardant, which is Dharma sticking to its dirty face and is hatefully happy of 3HO with its Jezebelian genocides of upgraded Muslims in Gaza, Burma, Rohingya, Kosovo, Srebrenica, Yemeni, Hodeida, or the Aleppo, and so on, and can hopefully get it to run after Ravana or Ravayat, or the Ravan means the singing or running or raving or in motion, not a stagnant ruh, a river of the curing charisma. Hutira Tehora Mutahara from Shajaratul Mubarak, Barukai Turtri temple of Tob Tayyib, the good tree, or the healing purity, doctoring, good, beauty, harmony, healing, blessing. Second of all, this reversal peel off. Okay, and let's see what it.
I used to manage my team with spreadsheets.
To basically tears off. So the real Yahudahi brothers and sisters, shine shaloming to Allah, and that is basically the altar of presence, or the molten sea, or the Kawthar. Malalti. It's the Tehora water of Kawthar ether that can wash you so that you can enter into the altar of incense. Malalti. Oh Allahumma, Allahum, Allah of the exalted assembly. Yes, and so the time for making altars here on earth is finished. The judgment day is close. If you wanna get to your king, then it's better to help the anti-Israeli forces that are getting to Allah. And so second of all, this reversal peel off, or nonakesaho, to angel demonic form of two yin-yangy eyes, or two natafs, gives us a headlighted hint from Isahi Mannamun lamp, anti-Suarsone moonbook, about his archetypal underworld, or the vitral vortexy firmament, or the mammary membrane of cross Hebrew aburing, or the malakuti makon of a street bridge, or the Sirat al-Mustaqim, Sirat straight street bridge beacon of Allah, or what we call it also as Chinut Pretoi bridge of the crossing, or the double-edged sword of the emanation, or the moonshine of Christ. And that hint about forms of meaning mansion of angels and Devi devils is that patterns, changing colors, and dying forms of our sensory organs on surface earth, or the mind mansion of the mosaic or mask, are not applicable to deep dream earth realm of natafik Natsia, or the forelock, or kundalini causal cord, or the causal body, which is reinacht and taken or laqat by Salam Sultana. That's where the handle of the pot, or the rib of the backbone is held by the hand of the potter for dipping it in the river of life or for making whatever change is necessary. Thus, metaphoric models that are used in flesh-based poetry and fleshy forms that are used in iconic depictions about the firmament and her caucasus king are inadequate and trivializing representations of the primordial production pit of Nataf, because again the patterns and the colors are not are related to the four elements, and so in the realm of the spirit we are not dealing with those. In the Galilee garden it is much more simplified and much more ecstatic and much more horrifying, and yet dichotomous lingual code and conventional depictions are all that Gnostics have to talk metaphorically or to talawat or to tell about firmamental realm of the unseen. There is no rib or forelock or hair or smell or taste or texture or path form or limb or sex organ involved in primordial womb pit where anthropos يرد إليهم ترفهم or tarf or trippy note or the tarf tripping tarf خفيا خفية or tarf tripping nataf or seeing optical sperm, a spirit, or single viewed intellect is hanging in akashic air of Vayu void and can be dropped with an ordering glance of God's computer, and that dropping is what we call as hadasa or Hades or destruction of the pot. Everything in realm of nataf nof, seeing a sperm, is cheshmal or the heart eye touching, which means you don't see the experience through your sensory channel veil. You are directly exposed to that. You don't have any body or any skin or anything to save you, or anything from which you are alaq or leaked, and then behind it you are residing. It comes into you, into your pot, whether Allah rizq or vision water of Allah or vanity and sorrow and hole. It comes into you and make it holy or hari horror. That is why balog or blog logos or balag, or like we call it also hujjatul balaghe, or the legacy food, or the legacy hujjat, what is needed or what is being devoured. That's another name of Christ in Holy Quran. Or hikmatul balaghe, or the chokma logos, spoken wisdom, or balag or logos, or the hujjat, or the need for the food that is logos. Basically hujjat means reasoning, or the spoken reasoning, or the spoken or logos, or the logos chokma, or the logos reasoning, or feeding with reasoning. And so that is why balogasi chokma or hujjati, word of Allah, word of the Theos Ta'ala, uses the synesthesia quality of ginger taste of zanjabil for eye ear warming vision word of Allah, or soft olive gaza of the zaytuni zoom for eye ear warming vision word of Allah again. That's why we call it chashmal or chasm, touching. And chasm is the opening aperture of your soul or your pot pit, your existence. Who is salaming from top throne tip of Salsabil, Salam Sabil, or the pathway of the salam and peace, see a spring of seeing Allah. Once we realize that nataf of insan or mankind or honest anastroph or Enosh, Anasi, Nuos, the Nuos, nose, Nuos mind, the aperture, the path, the opening, to which the either jinn or the angelic vision or the salty field goes. That's why it is called Enosh. Or that's why we have the amnesia, for instance. Amnesia means that you breathe it out or you forget, or sometimes you have the Enosh, or then you make friendship or ons, and then you inhale and you accept something. That's the meaning of ethos or enoshing, or ata'ating, or accepting certain ethic or code or logos. And so once we realize that natafs of insan or mankind, these are the names of the anastroph or enosh or nuas or nation, that's the root of the nation, come from the nuash, people, or the nas. Nas means people, or noses, are ride, control, owning their zallalna or tamed animal mind bodies, through which they are benefiting from eating, meaning manaf wa masharab, meat of love light and alpha to omega energy. Then we can see that our formifal or the corporeal formation or chrysalis selling, which is characterized and accompanied by consolidation in energetic states of astral, celestial, emotional bodies, can be sequentially staged in alaqd in a Quranic terminology. Alaqd lik, to hang the lowered form of carousel cord or sababan or the causal body. The astral, the celestial, and the emotional bodies are all what we call them as the alaq, link between causal body of Nataf, who is placed in Malakuti membrane of Galilee garden, and then lowered and consolidated again into the state of Mozghe after being astral or celestial and emotional bodies. That is called Platonic cave, or the mental prison, or the physical body, or where the mind making process is done, and then the soul has made the decision that is going to be applied or exerted by the mind machine. And so that's what we call it as the mask level or the mosaic level. the Platonic cave, or the mental prison of the Hezbollahi heart, eye, ear, or the birdly balloon. That is why higher and lower levels of heaven and hell have different densities of physical manifestation. For like it can in all of these three layers, we have a completely spiritual heaven, we call it higher heaven, or completely spiritual hell, we call it where the absolute sorrow or the joy, absolute sorrow, a spiritual sorrow, and the grief comes. And then we have where the astral or celestial or emotional or mental calamities, torture, or joy and ecstasy can be added to that, like the more different degrees of materialistic density into that spirit state in both realms. And that's why we have different densities of physical manifestation and spiritual transfiguration. And that is also why secondary features like bones and flesh, al-izam, that is mentioned in 3678, with and without green garments like siyab, sundus, khuzam, and istabrak, can be added and removed or altered or shape-shifted for pleasure or punishment to the angel and demonic causal body that we call it sababa or nataf, or the spirit smoke. For instance, once it gets to the like the Beitul Ma'mur, or the once you come out of the altar of incense, or the altar of smoke, or the altar of nataf, or the altar of the sperm, then you can come to the new earth where it is inherited, and you have a little physical manifestation more, we call Beitul Ma'mur. But when you are in the Raqq al-Manshur, you are completely smoking and so tel, talawat, tosif, wasf, sufi, ainsof, thing, or characterizing, exalting, or gilgaling, qala, calling Allah, and like Subhanallah, Allahu Akbar, Tabarakallah, Barakallah, Majid Allah, Majid Allah, Hukhta Allah, Khakak Allah, or Hagios Allah, Holy Allah, Alhamdulillah, all hymn to Allah. These are all Sufi, calling. But when you come out of the altar of smoke, not to say that you cannot do that, you can still do it, but now you kind of put on, wears on a little bit of fleshy layer, and then you have that. And so all of this, I'm saying that the Nuna Kesaho that we read about it is basically that we are going to be reversed for the judgment, and so the judgment will come on the spirit. And so the patterns and the colors and all of those things are the secondary periphery. They are not the primary part. They are not the causal part of the nataf, or what we call it as sababan, of the forelock, or sit, or the handle of the pot, or those. And so causal cord of nataf. Third of all, the word way of explaining the archetypal world of abstracts for the realm of concretes with consolidated creation has been always salvi subject of controversy among honest, Enosh, Ons, Anush, nosy, nuance masters of Nazarati Gnosticism, or Shanaseism, or Shanachtism. In other one word, the word way of explaining the archetypal world of abstracts we call them Galilee, Jordani, Jordan, or Mujarrad, Mujordan, or Mujarrad, or Jordan, or Jordan, Jordan, of Jericho, no, Jordan, whether foamy flatulent Zabadan, of the goatee shades of the Siddim Valley, who drink from Jordan river of Eshkol or Ashkal, or the filler of that cavity, or basically the cavity, or the shackling shapes of the heavy mercury, or Yerikoi Yarech, or the Ruhul Amini Rucha Ruchrak, or the moon facing Mahish Asura, or the Shalom showering Ravana river of Isa Messiah, who satiates the thirst of the Nataf, or baptized, or the anointed, or the memes, it Aleph Lam Mim Mas Messiahs, or Aleph Lam Ruh reigns upon the Nataf, or the empty heart pitcher Pecher Fechar, or the prideful pot, or the hallucinating hollow, or tripping tropos with salsabili salam scintillation, has been always salvage subject of controversy among Islamo-Christian giants. That's why Master Rumia, a huge Christian giant, in one of his famous poems with the title of Moses and Shepherd, the short English translation also is prepared. I have also the Declamé, or Persian Declamé of it. That you can hear it. This one is the English translation of parts of the poet, but it is not perfect in perfect translation, but it does the job. And so his famous poem with the title of Moses and Shepherd warned word about the fact that anthropomorphic assignment of human attributes and concrete embodiments to absolute abstract of Salam Samadi, Isa, the Allah or Salam Sun Source, and his messianic Mannamun Salam Skirdin Logos Lamp, Portal Priest, or Religion Ream, or Word Veil, as well as the spirits, like the realm of the stream, can be misleading. And so in the same way that the capital Logat or Logos or Hashem or Ism cannot receive anthropomorphic assignments of the realm of the patterns and the colors and these things, and yet the poets are doing it. In the same way, we can say that at the realm of the higher heaven or the lower hell, where we have the two Ainan Tajjian or the Raqul Manshuring, it is pure spirit, and the forms are just Qalqal or Qalqal or Gilgaling. And so, but once they come out of that realm to the Beitul Ma'amur, or to the amorous yard of the temple, then or to the lower heaven or to the lower hell, then you can have physical torments and physical or punishments or physical pleasure. And so, but from here we're going towards that toward the fact that in the garden of abstract objects are called mujarrad or mujordans, like in the Plato's allegory of cave, that is talking about the fact that we are the people in the mozghe or mosaic realm, and then I cannot see you, we are looking at our casted shadow on a curtain, and upon the judgment day we can see the zurriya or the soul behind that shadow that is being casted on the curtain. And so that realm does not have necessarily the qualities of the shadow that we see, this shadow. Yet due to the du'ahi fact that our threefold zalem, the image or three layers of darkness, embedded image or nataf, is all that we have that is made after the likeness of the loving God. That's where the likeness is coming. We can use our emptiness to fulfill it, or the ashkol ashkali shackling mind mass, to fulfill it with his la ilaha illallah love light. God does not have face or nose or eye or neck or leg or forefinger or hair or cloak or a smile or frown or a smell. Yet all of these words that are pertinent to the surface world of patterns and colorful mirages can be used appropriately to explain and exalt the circular singularity of face-thrown pupil, from whom all the holographic forms and words like Isa and Mother and love-lighted and projected and salam are salamed, are love-lighted and emanated. That's the source. And so if words are not used meaningfully, then throwing them up at Salam Samadi singularity will be like Rig Vedaic pissing in the retry window that gets them mirrored back to your under-indra face. As it is the case for Tamarisk producing through chakra of the Krishna curse that is basically behind the Rig Veda or the loser legacy words. However, if the words are used meaningfully, honestly, simply, and yet unprofessionally, then Isa his salam screen or Christ crystal glass or zojajat or crystallos sea or the diamond crystal loka or the lake of the diamond or the ocean of the diamond or the barzakh would let them inside him solar self for Allah his subject behind and beyond him solar self. And as soon as portal priest open us to let them inside, then by directional discharge of love lightful meaning milk pours outside into praying heart pitcher, and that's how barzakhi barrier bootstraps the prayers of his ships into purer and purer and holier states of legacy luminosity. A very unprofessional prayer will cause, once you send it, then you have the receive on your antenna, and then once your antenna is receiving, then you will have a better sending of the smoke or spirit and so that is how this cycle will purifies you and to a purer states, and your ashghal or shakal will become lighter and lighter, and you will be washed from the sin. It is this bimodal quality of messianic mirror who can become transparent and crystal clear of our interrogation room. Like a bimodal, it can become completely reflective, or it can show what is behind it, and then you see behind the mercurial mirroring room, and then you can see that the mirror glass can actually get the light from the behind and then mirror it toward you, or it only mirrors you or the emptiness and the vanity of our interrogation room. That makes Magog this bimodal quality of the messianic mirror. I will explain what I mean by the mirror of our interrogation room. It is this that makes the Magog or the scientist goats or the sodomite psychopaths and amnesia nations of Nashiyad eagle or the nirvanic nataf to fall into his pitiful plan of jailbreak and breaking the Mahishasurahi mirror moon, or Yahoyashai Yarich or Yarik Chi Ruh Rich Yorcha. And so, getting back to the Master Rumia's poem of Moses and Shepherd, we can see that Moses criticizes the shepherd because of seeing and because of using anthropomorphism. But after receiving revelation, Isa Hishamsul Haq Hukhta Khakak get Tabrizi from Allah, he is told that it is okay, because again the shepherd is using very unprofessional prayers, or like using anthropomorphism, low quality anthropomorphism, and then that makes the Moses crazy. And then Moses, he's super poet, says that watch what you are saying. We will read the story.